Oh, hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Today we will be talking about this short story by Mark Twain, which is The Facts About the Great Reef Contract. In the Great Reef Contract. Now, let's get started on this. Now, what does this story talks about? Well, in as few words as possible, there is a contract called the Great Beef Contract. You know, like cow meat, all that stuff, beef, yummy beef, but very chewy. Well, first of all, there was New Jersey who deceased and everything like that. And then here is the contract. There was a bill. This man called Bartholomew W. made out a following bill. And then he died. And the bill was the United States, in account with John Wilson Mackenzie of New Jersey, deceased doctor, to 30 barrels of beef for General Sherman and $100 to travel expenses and transportation, $17,000. Rex can't pay it. So he passed the bill to his son, who was very old when he was passed the bill. And then he tried to make the money, but then he died, and before he died, he gave it to his son. And then that son gave it to his son, and then that son gave it to his son, and then so on and so on, until there was only one more son left. That son had no sons at all, but had just a daughter. If the way I'm telling the story is the wrong version, well, you can type that in the comments below, There was a daughter and there was no son to give it to. So instead, he tried to make all the money. He was very young, so he still had time. He still had time to do everything here. He still had time to make the money. So he was able to make all the $17,000 with the rest of the money that his following ancestors got. And then he had to make another bill. Well, no, that bill part, the other part is not true. And there were loads and loads of people who died in this time. He's like, hey, that's my money. And this man, the man was dead. So General Sherman was dead. And then he was like, yeah. And everybody was like, some people died. It's like John Wilson Mackenzie. He was dead. And how did he die? And how did he die? He was not die. He didn't die. He was killed. How? Tomahawked. Who tomahawked him? Why, in Indian, of course. Now, what is a tomahawk? Well, a tomahawk is like a hammer. It's like a hammer. It's like a weapon. You know, like in Minecraft. Minecrafters sometimes have some axes which they use to kill. Well, tomahawks are stone axes. So, real life Minecraft stone axe, where it is used by Indians. Now, George Washington accidentally tomahawked some people with Indians. And it's like, now this video was like this. I actually watched this video once. It's called Oversimplify the American Revolution, and it happened like this. Okay, George Washington was like, okay, boys, we're gonna go home. And then and while he was saying something, an Indian tomahawked somebody, and you're like, oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to tomahawk him. Doesn't matter. It's not like gonna make a 7 years war or anything. And then the next thing that happened was the 7 years war. Whoa. Oh well, a coincidence. Yeah. Mark Twain had that a lot of times, and it's like, Mark Twain had a lot of stories, and he was very bad at journalism. How he was good at journalism? Well, let's just say he made fake journalism. He made all the stories fake, like, hey, a musician is in town, but it has not been engaged. And then there's like, fireworks were made for this evening, but then the idea was abandoned. And then Mark Twain gonna be here, and that was the only truth part. And then the shivering really did start at 8 o'clock on the posters, as they said, for Mark Twain's lectures. However, I just want to say to Mark Twain how he got all these brilliant, fantastic stories. Even though he might be a Southerner, but he was part of the Union. It was like, yeah, let's just do everything I can about racism and all that stuff. And you know what? Mark Twain was literally part of everything we might have known for him. He was part of the army for the Confederacy, a secret army, in fact. And then, Mark Twain, I have to say that even that was not his pen name. He was part of the Union. Yeah, everything just like that. Now, I might be talking about Mark Twain a lot about here, but still the story about the Great Beef Contract is just like that. Just like that. And then after Mackenzie's death, there's a lot of talk about his death, and then a private mercantile was instituted. And then that's how the story ends. Now, I have to say about this that if I have to choose whether this book is supposed to be banned or not, I would say no banning, even though it might be killed or so stuff if adults might not want their children to see, well, of course. And then yeah, the feelings of this is like a lot of, you know how blood looks like. Yeah, sometimes when people are killed, it is not pretty. Sometimes they're just like atomized, scrambled atoms, and sometimes they are like, blasted apart by a laser gun or something like that, or killed by murdered by thallium, all that stuff. There are different kinds of murders. However, we don't know how murder can happen in the world. So I want to say here that yes, I am feeling some mixtures of angriness, sadness, also a little tenseness of stuff that happened here. And I just want to say here that once we're done with this story, I want to say I would never want to read that story ever again, because it gives me the shivers. Brr. Now, why Mark Twain wrote this? Well, because of all, he needed the money that it could make, and also he wanted to write stuff. Even when the typewriter was introduced, he still said, I'm still gonna write by hand. And he did. That's exactly what I mean. Now, I will have your question. What do you think about this book? What is your opinion for this short story? Write them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Shinhan out. Peace!